Hello YouTube, this is the Bucket coming at you today with the Zastava M88a 9mm pistol from the Serbia. This particular firearm was a military and police firearm design with quite a bit of history, so you know that is right up the Bucket's alley. So let's talk a little bit about the history of this. This company, Zastava, which I've done videos on them before, is started off as a Yugoslavian company and is now a Serbian company after the breakup of Yugoslavia. I want to put a word out there. I've been told many, many times that Yugoslavia was never a communist or never a Iron Curtain company, country, Soviet satellite. They did have a communist leader, and I will admit that I did not do my due diligence, so I will not call this a con bloc country, but the Serbia had the M57, which was the TT-33, the Tokarev design in 7.62 Tokarev as their sidearm for years and years and years. And the Tokarev is a great design. It takes a little bit off of Browning's 1911 / high power designs and kind of gives it some improvements. And they do a really, really good job of that. So the 7.65 Tokarev is a necked cartridge, which is just inherently more expensive to produce. And Yugoslavia wanted to go a different direction. In Serbia, the same way. So they came out with the M70, which is a smaller pistol that fires 32 ACP, which was still at the time considered a fine enough cartridge. After a short period of time, though, they realized that 9mm was a better person stopper, and they decided that they really wanted to update their sidearms to something that was going to be a little bit more potent, a little bit cheaper than the Tokarev round, but still have the stopping power that they want. And so what they decided on was going with the 9mm. And in 1987, they finalized the design features of what would become the M88. And this is still has the heritage of the Tokarev pistol all over it. It looks a little different. And this is an M88a, and we'll talk about that A here in a minute. But you're going to still see the classic Tokarev design concepts. More of a 90-degree angle in the grip angle. You're going to see the hammer that really comes up way high on the top. You'll see the classic clipped cross pin here. Just very, very Tokarev-esque all the way across. And for a country and a company like Zastava, they know how to make them. They know the dimensions, and actually a 9mm dimensions is going to be easier to work with than a necked Tokarev cartridge would be. So this is going to be smaller than a Tokarev, probably more well-suited for police usage, but still high quality enough for the military. And they came out with this pistol. It's a rugged, good pistol. They adopted it as the M88, and this was the sidearm that they used until they adopted the Zastava CZ99, which I've done a video on, and I'll put a link in the description below. This particular one is the A, which means that this was really designed for importation into the United States. So they put the safety on this particular firearm. This is a hammer block safety, so you'll actually see that by pulling down the safety, it just moves the firing pin out of the way. So even if this hammer was to fall, you were to pull the trigger, the gun would not go boom. There's a drop safety as well. This is just a well-rounded, well-produced pistol. So it ended up, because it was still single action, because it wasn't double stacked, people were really trying to get more rounds in their firearms, and so this just kind of went by the wayside, and these guns were imported in the United States. Now, I don't know for a fact, I haven't seen anything really definitive on whether or not they took some of the M88s and then just added the safety features and imported them in as kind of like a surplus-esque type firearm. These always have just a really nice deep blue that I like. There's a lot of markings for importation on the particular firearms, which a lot of people find is not ideal. One of the things that I like is this does have an 8-round magazine, and it is single stack. And people say, well, why would you like a single stack? Well, I've seen a lot of shooters out there that the double stack, maybe it's due to the size of their hand, a lot of different things, don't particularly shoot them well. They're just a little bit fat. Yet you put a 1911 in their hands and they shoot them a lot better. Well, I think one of the really great things about the Tokarevs, about the 1911s, about the Polish Radums, is they're very thin and they can beef up the grips to be just kind of that perfect feel in most adults' hands. And this is no exception. This just feels great in the hand. It points pretty well. I will tell you that Tokarev design, with it being more 90 degrees than maybe a 1911, takes some people a little bit of getting used to. And you may find that as well. But what made these great is Century Arms had these for a long time, and I saw ads as low as $180 for an all-metal, hammer-fired gun in a caliber where the ammunition was just not that expensive. And if you're the type of person that maybe a double stack gun is just not going to provide you with the kind of grip that you can be successful on, or be successful on for the amount of time that you're willing to put forth to learn how to fire your particular firearm, this might be a really, really good option. So I'm excited to get it to the range and show you a little bit more about this particular firearm. I'm actually not going to disassemble it on this particular video. I'm going to disassemble it after the range review, but I wanted to show you something kind of unique. And what I've done is, if you notice, if you really weren't paying attention, these look like grip screws, but there really isn't anything to screw. And on most Tokarev designs, they actually didn't use grip screws. They used a different design where you have this little pivoting block right here that actually turns and locks into place. Now, I got dental picks and I've kind of fallen in love with those. So that's how I got this one off, because it's really hard to see in the camera. But what you do is you come up from underneath in the mag well, you grab a hold of this little tab, and it would be right here, and you just pull it down into this position, and then this will just slip right off. And to take this one off, you now have access to it, and all you do is go ahead and move this out of the way. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult. My tool's not going to want to work today. Of course. Let me get another tool. Thanks for being patient with me as I get this done. And I'm going to have to kind of two-hand this deal, because this one's good in there tight. Oh yeah, she's moving a little bit. Now my camera's going to shake. There it is. Now we got her out. And then it just comes right out. These aren't really rotated that often, so occasionally you'll see them a little bit tougher to do, but you can get it out. Now, I would tell you this. One of the things that they put in this particular firearm was a magazine disconnect safety. And when I purchased this firearm, there was originally a little bar here, which made it so when you didn't have a magazine in, this firearm couldn't fire. And what you can believe whatever you want to, but it also made that the magazine wouldn't drop free. But you're seeing that mine is dropping free, because right here there is supposed to be a little metal bar that acts as the magazine disconnect safety. And what somebody did is they took like a pick or a screwdriver, got underneath that and just bent that bar back and wiggled it until it broke off. And because they did that, whenever you go ahead and put a magazine, well, if you don't have a magazine in, you pull that trigger and she goes. And if you do have a magazine in and you want to go ahead and have that drop free, this not being there is extremely helpful in that. So I'm not telling you that anybody should take a pick or a screwdriver and break that off so that then this gun is a little bit more ready to go for tactical use. I would never do such a thing. But if your gun ends up looking like this, it will be a little bit more gooder, in my opinion. I want to thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch a video with me today. I'm excited to get this out to the range and showing you how this particular firearm runs. And as always, you stay classy, YouTube.
I learned a lesson. Never half-ass two things. Whole-ass one thing.